Sometimes there are stories that really just make you queasy, don't feel the right way, and this was probably one of the stories. It's an older video that I have from about 2 years ago that I never posted. We are along the Garden State Parkway. This is Thomaston, New York. No, not in New York today. Along the Garden State Parkway, going in the direction going to the city of Long Branch, New Jersey, in Monmouth County. So I guess, I could work the story backwards. Effectively, in 2022, a man by the name of, 20-year-old, he was 16 at the time of the crime, Scott Kologi, effectively got a life sentence. 150 years in state prison. That's for ending the life of his mother, father, older sister, and surrogate grandmother on the final day of 2017. That's right, on New Year's Eve, right before the ball was to drop. A jury in February of 2022, they took less than 5 hours to convict Kologi, 4 counts of first degree, and a second-degree weapons charge. He ended the life of his mother, 44, his father, 42, his surrogate grandmother, 70, and his sister, 18 years old. The judge also denied a series of motions from Kologi's defense team seeking a new trial and verdict reversal. And he said that the evidence against Kologi was overwhelming and his crime resulted in immeasurable harm. Prosecutors agreed and they sought a sentence matching the severity of the crime. Quote, these were acts of evil carried out by someone who knew exactly what he was doing. That's what the Monmouth County Assistant Prosecutor said during these proceedings. He ended their life because he could. He ended their life because he wanted to. Officers with Long Branch Police Department and deputies with the Monmouth County Sheriff's Department responded to the call at approximately 11:43, December 31st, 2017. Shots fired, 635 Wall Street, which is where we are headed. Now, upon arriving at the scene, the first responders discovered all 4 victims at different locations within the residence. Sorry about that. With each appearing to have sustained multiple wounds. All of them were pronounced deceased on the scene. A then 16-year-old Scott Kologi was arrested at the house, and the firearm used was a semi-automatic rifle. You see Scott Kologi at 20 years old now. At the time that picture was taken in court. Authorities had said that Kologi, he confessed to the end of life during the initial meeting with detectives from the Long Branch Police Department. Video of the interrogation shows Kologi calmly explaining how he ended the life of each of his 4 family members, while his brother struggles to maintain his composure. He says, quote, when everything was happening, I felt like I was watching it, like I was further back in my mind. He said, I just kept firing until they, stopped moving. Kologi told detectives that he went upstairs and he put on a jacket, sunglasses, and earplugs just before his spree started. He then loaded a rifle belonging to his biological brother and stood in his room with all the lights turned off noting that he knew his mother would come looking for him, and he didn't want her to see him. He didn't want her to see him with the weapon. Smart guy, huh? The assistant prosecutor described the shooting during, the sentencing hearing. He illustrated the premeditated nature of the crime. The crime was described as being premeditated. Scott's mother Scott lured his mother upstairs, shot her in the head 4 times under the cover of darkness. He then would shoot his father in the back and at the torso as he rushed upstairs to see what was going on. Scott Kologi then made his way downstairs and casually ended the life of his surrogate grandmother with several shots to the torso. He then ended the life of his sister, who was home from school and went to break, in the head 3 times while she sat at the kitchen table. Kologi told detectives that he planned to shoot more people until he saw his grandfather, who along with Kologi's brother was home during the attack, fall to his knees and break down in tears after he shot the maternal grandmother. It made him confused. The grandfather and brother were unharmed. Prosecutor would say even though they were, they physically survived, they will still have to deal with mental scars of what they saw. In all, the 16-year-old at the time fired 14 shots, with 12 of those shots hitting his victims. Now, he had pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. His attorneys argued that their client, had untreated schizophrenia and hallucinations and experienced a psychotic break the day of the crime. They also said that he had suffered from severe developmental disabilities. Now, during the trial, to support their claims here, with Scott's problems, developmental disabilities, so on and so forth, in the trial, the defense attorneys called one of his surviving brothers. And, the brother testified that at the time of the shootings, his brother still believed in Santa Claus. He had slept in his parents' bed and could not get dressed by himself. We're just a few moments away approaching the house here, how it looks like now. This is again in Long Branch, New Jersey. The prosecution expert at that point, when they heard this, countered that Scott was autistic. He said that he was autistic, not schizophrenic, and he knew what he was doing when he ended the lives of his family members. Following the sentencing, the quote comes from the Monmouth County prosecution. Our deepest condolences remain with the victim's family and friends who continue to feel. Here is the house, by the way. It's the white awning as I'm zooming in. Who continue to feel the impact of the loss of their loved ones, and who will live with their grief and for infinitely. Just amazing what happened behind those doors. Just a young boy, 16 at the time, completely throws his whole life away for a reason that he, at least says so, or is acting like he doesn't even fully know. Just complete utter sadness. A whole family, that had once celebrated, barbecues, birthdays, holidays, is now no more. 14 shots. 14 shots. And lives end that day. I wish their souls are at peace, and I wish the surviving victims, the surviving family members, peace as well. Just a sad case. Hope all is well.